episode, we're learning about solving quadratic equations. So in the last episode, we did that. So in the last episode, we learned about the same thing, but now we're going to learn about how to graph those things. So it's like the last episode where we tried to find it out, only you also have to graph, like in tests you have to like graph and show what it would look like. There could be or and. Or and. Or it means either this way or that way. Any number that's this way or that way. But if it means and, it could be like two numbers, but it could be anything inside those two numbers. So first thing you have to do, we don't look at the zero yet. So there can be and, like you have to do the number math, and then after that you have to graph it. And like when you graph it, you have to it could be which means like something in, like there were two numbers and then the number could be anything in between. But if it was or, then it could be two different numbers, and it could be and it could be any number that's the opposite side of each number. So just here's like the joke. So like this place is like New York, and then it just keeps on going, and he just think of the cities as numbers. Just think of it like that. So it could the city, for example, just so this way is San Francisco, and this is New York. And this way, any city number. So it just keeps on going. It can be anything, even these cities themselves. Here's a funny story that can introduce what are some of the concepts of solving quadratic equations and graphing them. So one kid said, I want to go to New York, which is this way. The other kid said, I want to go to San Francisco. And then he went that way. And then they wanted to go that way. And then the other kid said, I want to go anywhere in between. And then he said, I want to go to any cities beyond those. And so what that means is New York is going this way, and San Francisco is going that way. And they could go to any city in between, which means they say and, which means any city in between. And if they say or, I want to go to any city beyond that. So it's beyond New York and beyond San Francisco. So what that would look like is, this is New York. This is my best I'm just making doodles of a building. And this is San Francisco. This is a train station. I know these drawings aren't very good. I could draw better, but I'm making doodles. So Joanna, my fun fact, my cousin Joanna lives in San Francisco. So she lives all the way over there. So first we need to solve the equations. We have x negative, and I'm going to use 1, 6, 6, 1, and then we have x plus 6, x plus 1 greater than 0. So I'm gonna make x equals something. So like the formula is like f times x. So I'm going to make 0 for both of these. So f 0. So I'm going to make the line. So I'm trying to make the x's equals, so fx equals 0. So we want this to equal 0. So this x here equals -6 to get it. And this x has to equal 1. So the question is, will it like be between here or out? That's the question. So right now I have to get rid of these. So now, since both of these x's equal to 0, that means like fx, we know it equals 0. And now like we multiply these two and we'll see the 6 and the 1 to make sure that now I'm going to write, I have fx, now we copy this time. So now I'm going to choose any number that's between these. I'm going to try -2. Equals -2 plus 6. I'm plugging it in. This 2 plus 1 is greater than 0. So if this is bigger than 0, then it'll work. It'll equal, so 4 times 3 greater than 0 equals to 12 is greater than 0. And that's true. So it's okay for this. It's appropriate. So we have these two numbers. So it's 12 is greater than 0. So the solution is it's greater than -6, but less than 1. So the answer is it's between, not out. So x is greater than -6, but smaller than 1. And with apologies, if you try to go to New York and go as far as you can, then eventually you'll just end up at the ocean and the trip won't be worth it. Most of it, well, the ocean part at least.